Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror comedy film, P-Neck Part 1. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. A man is carefully exploring a local temple when he sees dead people gathering as they pray. The man gets frightened and runs his panicking muscles away, but he stumbles as he sweats heavily due to his fear. Suddenly, a ghost grabs him on his back. He looks back, only to see dead people having a festival. The man tries to escape, but he fails and gets hanged on the pillar of the temple. The next scene shows the boy Nerd being alarmed and trying to hide, as he sees Balloon and his gay friends, First and Second, entering the same bus as him. While Balloon and his friends are talking, Second screams as he sees Nerd. Balloon then asks what's wrong with Second. Second then responds that he saw a hot guy, referring to Nerd. Balloon approaches Nerd. As Balloon is coming near him, the three of them shout as they suddenly recognize Nerd. They greet Nerd and ask him about how he is doing with his life as they cause chaos inside the bus. The bus driver tries to stop them, but as he looks at the side mirror, the driver sees Second and the others moving around without the image of their heads in the reflection of the mirror, implying that they must be ghosts. The bus driver's conductor friend also sees the same reflection in the mirror, making them both faint and collapse, dropping the wheel. Second takes the wheel and drives the bus instead. He is having a hard time driving, causing the bus to crash with one of the incoming trucks. The next scene shows the three friends in the hospital being aided after the accident. Balloon informs Nerd about Second's death. Nerd's father arrives at the hospital and scolds Nerd about what happened, pointing out that Nerd is suffering from karma since he chose to have a normal life instead of being ordained in the temple. Nerd talks back, causing an argument between the two while First and Balloon only spectate. A bald monk then arrives and talks to Nerd, encouraging him to be ordained. Balloon's condition is fulfilled, and so he needs to compromise his vow of being ordained along with First and Nerd. In the end, the three of them return to the temple and fulfill their responsibility to be ordained. While they're heading towards the temple, a gravedigger greets them. He later brings them to the monk master. Balloon explains to monk master why they want to be ordained. Monk master orders the gravedigger to guide them on their way to their mentor. The three of them get surprised as they did not expect their mentor to be a young novice monk. They ask about the knack, which refers to people on their way to getting ordained before becoming a monk. They also ask about a monk-looking boy that they saw at the spirit shrine, but the gravedigger and the novice monk deny what they said, since monk master is the only monk in the temple. The three then go ahead to their own rooms. Balloon is fixing his belongings when he suddenly hears a faint bell that keeps on ringing. He feels a presence behind him and slowly looks behind him, but he sees nothing. Meanwhile, Nerd is finding the amulet the monk gave to him back at the hospital. Nerd finds it on the floor, but an arm grabs the amulet from under Nerd's bed. Nerd looks under his bed, but finds nothing. He then gets distracted as a monk figure is suddenly placed on the table. Nerd sees its sheets moving. He uncovers it and discovers a python. On the other hand, First is fixing his mess, when suddenly a bowl moves on its own. He opens the bowl and finds a gecko. Right then, the terrified Balloon rushes to First, but sees him bitten by the gecko on his lips, possibly doing for a lip massage. Balloon then helps First to remove the gecko, and they rush to Nerd's room, who is also being troubled by the python. Nerd makes a convincing condition that makes First get rid of the snake for him. While running, Nerd and Balloon stumble upon the gravedigger, who is confused about the situation. Balloon offers him money to pack their things and move them to a room where they can sleep together. First rushes to follow Nerd and Balloon, putting the python on the gravedigger's shoulders. Later on, the gravedigger brings them to a new place. Monk Master lightly scolds the gravedigger for bringing them there, since they can't be involved in the funeral as it indicates a bad omen. In the end, the three of them help out in preparing for the funeral. The funeral proceeds when all of a sudden, a half-naked monk hears knocks coming from the coffin. The monk approaches the coffin and knocks back. The corpse suddenly jumps out from the coffin. Another monk calls for an emergency and cancels the chanting of the funeral since they are facing an emergency. Later that night, Balloon and First accompany a stranger girl named Cutie in guarding the funeral of her deceased brother, who dies as a knack on his way to getting ordained and is now lying inside the coffin. Balloon is going live on social media, and his viewers keep on bugging him about the body in the casket moving. At first, Balloon thinks his viewers are pranking him, not until he sees the deceased move out of the casket. Balloon is terrified and calls out to Nerd and First. First suddenly appears, scaring Balloon even more. First explains in panic why the corpse looks familiar to them. He then proceeds to say that the corpse is the one they saw earlier at the spirit shrine, which was Cutie's dead brother. The ghost appears. First and Baloo gets surprised and pushes the coffin, resulting in it falling to the floor. Nerd also appears, and so the three of them attempt to put the coffin back. They slowly approach the coffin, but to their surprise, they discover that the body is now gone from the coffin. They proceed to look behind the curtain, and there they discover the corpse. Balloon stumbles at the feet of the dead body, scaring him. They cause chaos in the temple, summoning Monk Master's presence. In the next scene, the novice monk shares an issue about no one successfully being ordained for the past years, since all of them died when they were still knacks, indicating that nobody has ever finished the ordination. The novice monk also adds that the deceased knacks parade at night with their heads missing. The next day, the novice monk returns the amulet to Nerd, who has been looking for it. Meanwhile, Balloon and First are talking about their personal life and the problems they have been facing. Nerd and his two friends are practicing their chants when they see an old hag collecting things from the spirit shrine. They accuse an old hag of stealing things from the spirit shrine. The old hag approaches them and stops as she recognizes Nerd, calling him Mac. The gravedigger's grandfather then stops the old hag from attacking them. They leave, and at the same time, Nerd gets confused as to why the old hag seems to know him when they have never even met before. After some time, the funeral ceremony is finished. Cutie bids her last goodbye to her brother. Nerd approaches Cutie and comforts her, trying to use his muscles. But he gazes at the coffin that is being burned and sees the ghost rising from the coffin. Nerd gets frightened, and so he leaves in panic. The novice monk and the others follow him, asking Nerd if he's okay. Nerd then proceeds to say that the ghost haunting them might not be Cutie's brother, but someone else. Later on, they continue to practice their chant, with the novice monk mentoring them since their arrival. Later that night, Nerd is spending his time alone outside, practicing his chants. He forgets the next chant and blurts out a question about what the next line is, but the ghost continues the next line. Nerd remembers that he is alone, so he gets wary about his surroundings. Nerd proceeds to stand up and calls out to others. He tries to find Balloon and First. As Nerd walks, the ghost also follows him around. The ghost shapeshifts into the gravedigger. Oblivious to the ghost's existence, Nerd approaches him, thinking that he's the gravedigger. Nerd suddenly feels a tightening sensation around his neck. The ghost then transforms back to his original identity and drags Nerd. Fortunately, Nerd manages to get away from him. The next day, the novice monk asks Nerd about what happened. Nerd shares his experience of being haunted by the ghost, who kills knacks. Monk Master then arrives and tells them a story about why it's important to be a knack first, before becoming a monk. Nighttime arrives, and the others are already asleep except for First, who is still inside the restroom doing his business. First gets scared by the thump that he hears from outside, but gets relieved after thinking that it was Nerd. The lights suddenly go off. He panics and rushes to go outside of the bathroom. First spots someone walking away. He thinks it is Nerd, so he follows the person. First sees a silhouette of Nerd taking a bath. At first, he thinks it is a ghost, so he runs away. While running, First bumps his head on a bamboo, causing him to fall down. Nerd approaches First and talks to him. First doesn't believe it's the real Nerd himself, but he gets convinced when he touches Nerd's crotch. Meanwhile, Balloon is sleeping like a pig and gets attacked by the ghost. Nerd and First rush toward Balloon, whose head is being banged on the bell. When Nerd and First arrive, Balloon gets dragged by ghosts and gets hanged on the ceiling afterward. Fortunately, First manages to cut the rope on Balloon's neck in time. Balloon falls unconscious. Nerd is about to perform CPR when First stops him and does it instead, hoping to take Balloon's virgin kiss himself. Balloon wakes up and slaps First as he gets disgusted by their mouth-to-mouth contact. Monk Master is praying when the ghost disrupts him. A mysterious boy proceeds to join Monk Master in chanting. Then Monk Master dies because of natural causes. The next day, the novice monk and the gravedigger are wondering why Monk Master is still not awake. They go to his hut only to find him lying on the floor, unconscious. All of them then soon realize Monk Master's death. The gravedigger and the novice monk cry over the sudden death of Monk Master. Balloon and his friends try their best to comfort the two. Suddenly, Balloon gets a text that indicates his boyfriend is breaking up with him. He gets hormone frustrated and goes to the spirit shrine, attempting to wreck it. First tries to stop Balloon, but he fails to do anything. On the other hand, Nerd follows the novice monk and sees Cutie giving something to the novice monk. Nerd follows Cutie after her smell as soon as he discovers she is leaving. Nerd attempts to stop Cutie from leaving by telling her his feelings for her. Cutie responds that he is only attached to her cute body, but doesn't truly love her soul. Cutie leaves soon without leaving behind any of her hormone trace. The novice monk arrives and calls out to Nerd, informing him about Balloon destroying the spirit shrine. The two rush to the shrine and stop Balloon. The old hag also arrives and stops Balloon from further destroying the shrine. She cries while she embraces a container. As they all try to help the old hag by calming her down, she gets scared and runs away. The container falls to the ground as soon as she runs. First discovers a picture of the old hag and a boy, who is exactly the mysterious boy shown earlier. The gravedigger suggests that they ask his grandpa about the picture they found. The gravedigger's grandfather then tells them about the old hag's story. It turns out she had a son named Not, who was convicted of murder and was in and out of jail. She brought her son to the shrine for him to be ordained, and his training was successful. Unfortunately, on the day he was supposed to be ordained, he died due to an accident. This sudden death of her son makes the old hag lose her sanity, and the yet-to-be-ordained Not became vengeful and started to haunt the temple, cursing and preventing those from getting ordained there. They analyze the picture more, and first notices the resemblance between Not and Nerd's amulet. The grandfather confirms it is exactly the same amulet. This implies that Not's ghost has been the one haunting everyone. After a while, Balloon and the others decide to go back to the shrine to apologize to the old hag. They then proceed to fix the spirit shrine, leaving her at ease. After offering their prayers at the shrine, they decide to go and get some rest. Before getting some rest, the three friends practice their chanting to prepare for their ordaining ceremony tomorrow. Suddenly, they hear a faint sound of a bell, and so Balloon decides to check it. He proceeds to open the windows, but sees nothing outside. Air passes through Balloon, indicating Not's possession over his body. Nerd and First get confused as to why Balloon is acting weird, but as soon as they realize Balloon has been possessed, they attempt to escape. The novice monk and the gravedigger arrive at the scene. Nerd and Balloon ask for the novice monk's help, but he doesn't know how to exorcise Balloon, so he smacks him with a flashlight instead, making Balloon unconscious. After some time, Nerd gets an idea to help the ghost of Not to be ordained, since he thinks that will make him leave in peace. Nerd wrecks the tomb, attempting to retrieve his body. After Nerd successfully retrieves Not's body, they head back to the shrine to get the ordaining equipment. They leave the novice monk to guard Not's body. In the end, Nerd and the others return to the yard, discovering the novice monk being choked by Not. Nerd negotiates with Not. Not accepts Nerd's condition, so he lets go of the novice monk. They attempt to ordain Not, but since Not is not human anymore, the monk refuses to ordain him. Not proceeds to grab Nerd by the throat, also threatening others that they cannot be ordained since he failed to do so. The old hag asks her son to stop his obsession and make his spirit at ease. Not finally lets go of Nerd and bows to his mother. With his mother's love, Not is able to finally rest peacefully. The next day, Balloon and his two friends finally get ordained. Not's spirit is able to obtain peace now. The end scene shows the group talking about another legend in their shrine that ordained ones will face death if they leave the temple. Suddenly a hand comes out from a jar, signifying the coming danger. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.